for your boys?
Yeah, it was. We got taught a real lesson in how to be physical and how to control a game, how to complete, how to compete. I don't know what to say to these guys anymore, mate. I'll be honest. You can almost flip a coin and heads or tails it and what's turning up on a game day, and I'm just disappointed with the way. I thought we show signs, we show real signs. We have 10-minute periods here and there. It's just not good enough at this level. It's too many errors from same individuals week in, week out, and unfortunately for us, we just don't have the depth of any players to come in, so we're having to keep playing those individuals. So the frustration for me is certainly the first 3 tries. They didn't have to work hard for them. Texoy dives on a ball, or tries to dive on a ball, misses it. We break down the left edge. Louis Senior passes it to their guy, and then the shift to the right. We try killing it out the back, and we weren't connected. And 18 points there, and kind of just sums the season up really. And what's really disappointing, and alarming for me is, and it was highlighted when I've had discussions with Ryan, is the amount of points conceded after a win. I think we're up around 40 odd points after a win this year. It might be more after tonight's game. It's just not acceptable. I can cop the getting beat. I can cop that they're a better side than us at this moment in time, but I can't cop the individual errors that we keep making. We had 2 or 3, we didn't make touch last week. We didn't make touch at Catalans. Big changes in momentum. We don't dive on a loose ball. We make errors on play one coming out of yardage. That's just not good enough from a professional rugby league team, and that's it's not acceptable. And I know Ryan doesn't won't accept it. And we need to make some. Or we have made some serious changes for 2026.
You touched on it there. You have periods in games. Like you had a period in that second half where they had a real dig defensively. Must have, nearly 4 sets of 6 defending on the line. Didn't get many good calls there. Eventually line breach, but then went back to a flurry of tries. Does that almost make it more frustrating as a coach that it's kind of in there as a blueprint, but the players aren't able to manufacture it for long enough periods in games?
Yeah, I just listen. I can't take anything away from Wigan because they're a big physical side, and we struggled with that physicality throughout that game. We just felt for all that game we were just hanging on. We couldn't. Muzzy Mustafa scores that try. Brilliant. At least we've not been. At least we scored some points. But yeah, we it's so frustrating that we keep talking about these periods in games. We should be competing for every single play throughout, for that 80 minutes, and we're not because, like I said, individuals are letting us down, and that's got to change.
What was your sort of message to the players at half time? How difficult is it? You're in quite a unique situation really, because you've known for a while that you can't make the playoffs, so there's one eye arguably on next season with new coach, new players. How difficult is it to keep getting these guys up, to keep going through these games, with some of them knowing probably that they're not going to be here next year as well?
Back to your start of your question, I didn't really say a great deal to them. I just asked them what they needed from me for these next 40 minutes. Because we're giving them a plan, we're giving them things to work on and try and execute, and this is what's going to come at you, and we're just not, we're not doing it. But in the second part of your question, mate, I think I've said it many times. There's obviously players that are leaving the club. It's just the nature of the sport. But I think there's there's obviously that personal pride. Those players that are leaving are wanting to get contracts elsewhere. You know, there's not many that come out of tonight's performance with any real credit. I thought Joe Stimson were unbelievable. 80 minutes there. I know he made that first error, and he knocked on when young Jack got underneath the ball. But I thought Stimmer were great. I thought Mel's. I actually thought his pack started really well. I thought Liam Horn went okay defensively, but yeah, mate, they've got there's their own personal pride, and I've said it before that there's players here that are contracted for next year that may find that they're not here for next year if we continue to keep throwing in performances like this, and that's frustration.
But that's the thing. You've got one game left now. It's another tough road trip at St Helens. Is that the main point that you want to just sort of drill into the players, like pride in the performance to finish the season in as best way as you can?
Yeah, I just think it's a good opportunity for me to give some other guys some game time. I'm hoping Zach Sini and Gary's back next week, and George Hill keeps coming to me. Why are playing? Well, you've got an opportunity next week, so these players will get an opportunity, and they'll get an opportunity to show Ryan, who again watched the game tonight, what they're capable of, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, we've got to go to Saints next week and put in a shift, just put in a performance, just put him in an 80-minute performance. And that's the frustration with this group. We played well for 80 minutes last week, and then we come here and half time with 32 points down or whatever it was at half time. But that's been the story of the season. That's been the story of the year from round one all the way through to what are we in, 26? Yeah, just frustrated.
You mentioned about conceding the points after you've won a game. Is that a mentality thing? Or
it's got to be. Yeah, it's got to be a mentality thing, because we've got we've got a team there that can win games. But then, the following week like I said, I can't get my head around the group. I don't know what's turning up from one game to the next, and that's scary. That's you train well all week, and I thought we trained pretty well all week, and then we dish up that. So it's got to be a mentality thing with a lot of these guys, and and there's obviously players leaving as well, but I'd like to think that wasn't the issue. There's an issue with concentration. There's an issue with attitude. There's an issue. There's lots of things. And we just got to make sure that we get it right.